Hey guys, welcome back to another review. Today will be the Lockon Odyssey. It's a new mouse pad coming out this month. It is marketed as a more lean speed pad. First, just going to break into the basics. It's balancing speed for me, from what I felt. It's more towards the higher end of texture, more towards like the Zane or something like that. It's going to be high textured, and it's uncoated. And we're going to break into it today, cover comparisons, cover the pad, and I hope you guys enjoy. So first thing, I just want to break into the basics, just the size and thickness. It's 490 by 420, just kind of the more common size. Personally, my favorite. The edges are great. It reminds me of something like the newer gen Glassworks, like the Polarity. Maybe a tiny bit less going inwards on the edges and maybe a little less smooth. But they're pretty much the best edges you can ask for. It's not going to get much better than this. Thickness wise, it sits about the average, 2.5 millimeters or so. It's not too thin. It's not going to bend when you hold it or anything like that. It feels good in your hand. It feels good on the desk. And we're going to break into the base now. So when it comes to the base, this is not going anywhere. Like, I'm pushing my full pressure into this. It's not going anywhere. I'm going to flip it around. It's just a base, like hexagonal silicone backing. It's nothing insanely special, but it does its job, and honestly, you couldn't ask for better. It's not going anywhere. When bases like this, you really don't run into any issues. There's some of the smoother silicone that will slip, but with the hexagonal patterns, normally they stick really well. If you ever do have a base that doesn't stick very well, throw a little bit of droplets of water in the corners, and it'll help it stick down to the desk a little bit more. And now we're going to finally break into surface, which is what you guys are all here for. All right, so breaking in the surface, it's obviously an uncoated pad, as I've said. I know some people are concerned about that. I do want to clarify. A lot of coatings on pads really they don't wear after 3 months. A lot of people are scared of like coatings wearing after 3 months. They last many, many years. You don't have to worry about that. I get a lot of questions of it, so I'll cover it. But this is uncoated, so you don't got to ever worry about any quote-unquote coating wearing. With that, this is a very high textured pad. We'll break into comparisons here in a little bit, but it's going to be similar levels of something like the Zane or something like that. It's going to have a heavy texture, which does allow you to have a bit more control or feel over your mouse skates. You're going to be able to feel your skates a lot more. Even on the really like smooth mouse skates, we'll take Silver Foxes, for example, where they feel very smooth on every pad. You're going to feel a little bit more of that texture. It's just going to kind of give you a better feel for the pad, which I personally enjoy a lot. It is a balancing speed pad, so it's not incredibly fast. It's not like, let's say the Dysphoria Seo is one of the most regarded fast pads right now. It's not going to be that level, but it's going to be on the quicker side. It feels good. When it comes to skin stick, I personally recommend for uncoated pads to use a sleeve, but when it comes to not using a sleeve, you do run into a bit of skin stick, which is pretty much every uncoated pad. It's tolerable though. I don't think you you can live without wearing a sleeve on this pad, and I don't think you're going to run into many issues on it. Mainly with this pad, I also want to cover kind of the push-in, because I know some people like push-in on pads. This pad has a little bit of push-in. It's not like the Phantom level where you're slowed down, but it has a little bit. You feel a little bit slower when you push in. It's not bad. It's not the end of the world. I enjoy it personally. I think you kind of get a little bit more of a grip if you do want to push in. For non-push-in, you just feel skates a lot more because it's heavy textured. The control stopping power feels great. Like you're going to be able to stop on the dime on this with the heavy texture. Obviously with a control pad, you may be able to stop just a tiny bit fast or tiny bit better, but I think for this kind of a pad, if it's great in all categories, you can kind of play any game you want on this pad because it's that balancing speed. And if you want to go slower, you can use something like the U9 skates here, which is what it comes with, which is fantastic. And then you get more of that balanced feel, even you could argue leaning towards control. So you kind of get everything you want on this pad. If you want to go a little faster, you just keep the base pad, and then maybe you can go faster skates like the Ultra Glide RS, or you can go balanced with the Cyclones if you want true balanced, or if you want to even go a little bit slower, you can go the U9 Airs that it comes with if you want to feel that more attack FPS control feel. It kind of does everything you want it to. So that's kind of my coverage for the Surface. I think it feels great. It's a great high textured balanced leaning speed pad, and I think it's worth a try even if you want something, like let's say you have a Polarity and you want to try higher texture. This is a great pad to go to. Just remember, it's going to have a little bit more skin stick just due to it not being coated. So we're going to break into gaming really quick. I want to talk about it a bit more. I already said the basics, but When it comes to tech FPS, first of all, you're going to have high texture, so you're going to have great stopping power. You're going to know where you are on the mouse pad at all times. You're going to have a great feel. And it has that little bit of push in, so you can kind of push in if you want to really get that really good macro adjustment. When it comes to tracking games, obviously it's going to be textured, which some people I know really like smooth pads for tracking games, so they can just smoothly track across the entire pad. It's still relatively smooth. It's not like a Heian, like where it's extremely textured. Like, don't compare it with cloth. It's still pretty smooth in terms of an actual surface, but when it comes to glass, it's on the highly textured side, more towards something like the Zane. Just keep that in mind. You kind of feel your mouse pad everywhere, or your mouse everywhere. I know some people like the smooth tracking, so it may not be for some people when it comes to that with texture. With speed, it's obviously balancing speed, as I said before, so it kind of works for everything. You can adjust it a bit with skates, like let's take the U9 Airs that it comes with, which that's actually what I am using right now on TAC FPS. I like it a bit slower. When it comes to that, it's going to be a bit more, you kind of feel the texture a bit more on these types of skates because the U9s just really bring out the texture. So be prepared for that, but I think this kind of gives me the perfect amount of stopping power and control for this type of pad. If you want faster, you can go something like the Ultra Glide RS or the Jades. And if you want to go balance right in the middle, I would say Cyclones would be another great option. So it kind of just depends on what you want in the pad, but I think overall you can kind of use this on any game. I know some people really like smooth, fast pads for tracking, which that isn't this, so just keep that in mind. And we're going to break into comparisons now. All right, breaking into our first comparison, we have the Beast versus the Odyssey. I apologize for not having the Phantom or the Sayo. I just don't have one on me at the time, so we're going to use the Beast, which is a little slower, but it's still in the speed category. So when it comes to the texture, first of all, they are both pretty textured. Like, as you know, the Beast was one of the first textured pads to come out. It's not the most textured. I would say Phantom or the Sayo are a little bit more textured in that terms, but when it comes to that, I would say that the Odyssey is right above the Beast. It's kind of in between the Phantom and the Beast for me. I wouldn't say it's something like I wouldn't say it's more textured than the Phantom, for example. When it comes to speed, I want to say that the Odyssey is maybe a little bit slower. It has that balancing speed feel, whereas the Beast is just breaking into the speed category. And then we have the Sayo and stuff, which is obviously going to be way faster than both of these. But my point being that this is like just on the grasp of speed pads, but I wouldn't say it's in the speed pad category. Whereas the Beast is just at the bottom or middle of the speed category, if that makes sense. Sorry if it's a little bit confusing, but just want to clarify that this is a little bit slower and it's more the balance leaning speed category. That's why I say that instead of saying just, this is a speed pad. It's not. It's leaning towards it, but it's not there. Besides that, the push-in ability feels a bit greater on the Odyssey. It kind of lets you have that a little bit more stopping power if you push into the pad. Otherwise, if I had to choose a pad, I would say the Odyssey just because I like the more balanced feel for TAC FPS and I like the bit more texture. Besides that, obviously the edges are going to be better. It's just a newer pad. 490 by 420 versus 500, I think, by 450. It's just, personally, I prefer the smaller size, but that's up to you. Besides that, that's all I have to cover with this comparison. Now we're going to break into the return. So the next pad I wanted to break into with the comparison is the return. It might be, you're like, why are you doing a return? It's such a random pad. It's because it's another balanced uncoated pad, so I thought it'd be something good to cover. When it comes to speed, I would definitely say the Odyssey is faster. The return's kind of right in the balance category, whereas Odyssey is leaning towards speed. When it comes to texture, you can easily feel more texture in your skates on this pad. This just is a bit more textured. I would say the return has that uncoated feel where you can kind of feel the texture just slightly more. But when it comes to that, I would say easily that the Odyssey is way more textured. Besides that, you have better stopping power on this pad, in my opinion, just because of the high texture and a little bit of pushing. The return doesn't feel like it has much pushing. It just feels a lot smoother when I push it on the pad versus this feels a lot more textured. Otherwise, edges-wise, they're about the same. I would say Odyssey's a bit better, just more smooth, especially on the corners. Thickness-wise, I think the Odyssey is just a tad bit thicker, but it's pretty much the same. When it comes to base, this has the hexagonal pattern base, which sticks a little bit better. The return has the smooth silicone, which I don't prefer as much personally. Obviously, this isn't fully on my desk, so it's going to slide a bit more no matter what. But If I had to choose between the pads, I'm just choosing the Odyssey purely off the texture and the stopping power and just overall the looks. I know the Return's a great pad. A lot of people like the look of it. I just love this design as well. Non-biased design-wise, texture or surface-wise, I prefer this pad overall. Just a little bit more fast, a little bit more speed, a little bit more texture. It just feels better overall, especially in attack FPS, which is what I mainly play. So for the last comparison, I wanted to bring out the Polarity because it is known as the true balance pad, like the pad that fits right in the middle. Obviously, it's coated, so it's going to have a little bit less skin stick. It's going to feel better on your arm. Smoothness-wise or texture-wise, obviously the Odyssey is way noticeably more textured, especially on skate feel. You feel the texture a lot on this pad when it comes to feel on skates. So that is something to look out for. If you don't like a lot of texture on your skates, then I wouldn't recommend this pad just purely off that. Otherwise, speed-wise, obviously the Odyssey is faster. The Polarity is a balance pad versus balancing speed. When it comes to pushing, Odyssey also has more. It just has a bit more, and it's more noticeable, especially with the skate feel. Stopping power wise, I feel slower just on this pad when I'm moving around, but with the texture, it allows you to have that better micro adjustment. You have that extra skate feel. You can kind of push and feel the skate or feel the texture a bit more. Whereas this is a bit smoother, it may not be as easy for some people to have stopping power on this pad. Personally, if I had to choose between the pads, it's really hard, honestly. I have to say these are probably my two favorite pads in the market at the current moment. I'm not a big like ultimate speed person, so I can't say one of the Seo is my favorite pad or something. But when it comes to these two, I really can't choose. The reason I want to say the Polarity is because I prefer coated. I think that skin stick is the thing that bothers me most on this pad, which is probably the only negative I have to say about it is the skin stick, which is just purely, most uncoated pads have that more skin stick. It's just something you have to deal with, but I have to go with Polarity overall just because of purely the skin stick. Besides that, I think this is an amazing rival. I think it feels great, and it's a fantastic pad. We're going to break into my conclusion before I start going off topic. Appreciate you guys. Sorry, that's a lot of yapping, but we're going to break into conclusion finally. So, this is a balance link speed pad, high textured, pretty solid price point for what you get. 490 by 420, 2.5 millimeters thickness, great edges. It's overall a fantastic pad. It comes with the U9 Air, or the U9s, I believe they're the Airs, yes. U9 Airs. It comes with this cool little coin that actually turns into a little spinner. And it comes with some stickers. I think that it's a great package. It comes with everything you need. It's got skates that can make you feel a bit more controlled if you're a attack FPS enjoyer, or you can get something like the J's if you want something faster. It's kind of right in the middle of the pad. It works for everything. It feels great. It has great stopping power. I can't really speak anything negatively besides it being uncoated. I personally prefer coated pads. I know people have a preference. That's my preference. So if you don't care about it being coated, you don't care about the little more skin stick, and especially on like your fingers. If you use a sleeve, you still feel it on a finger if you palm. Sometimes you'll feel it with the sleeve on and during long sessions as well, but if that's not a red flag for you, that doesn't bother you, I don't think I have a single other bad thing to say. Overall, I would say even with the skin stick, it's worth getting. It's probably my second favorite pad I currently have in the collection, which at the collection's peak was like 60 to 70 pads, and I would probably take this second overall over all of them. Besides that, enough glazing, enough talking. I appreciate you guys listening. I hope you enjoyed the review, and you guys have a great day.